call. Hello, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone rule well. I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters, students, wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. This isn't very long. This is just a quick news update. But in the video I did before, I said if history does not repeat itself, it rhymes. And you're seeing yet another example. So this is pretty much just a land back and a news update all wrapped into one. I don't know if I should let this, man, Habakkuk 2, right? Habakkuk 2 has to be something we get because it just, golly, it's fitting. He is truly showing, the man of sin is being revealed, and he is truly showing his greed, his inhumanity, his lust for blood, and just to gain all, and just to be greedy, and to just never stop, never keep it at home, right? Habakkuk 2 and 5, man. And what does that mean for here, right? You start to mess around with world powers, right? Now you kidnapped a president, right? And it is also a monetary or a strategic financial hit to Iran. And we know that the Greater I Project, right? There's a PROJ there. If you look that up, Iran was a part of that project. You know, it's a part of that. So you look that up, all right? Let's read this here. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, and he definitely does. You're going to hear a point of that, and I'll point it out as soon as he mentions it. He transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right. The Lord gave you a place to stay, and you just could not.
Watching what is happening in Venezuela just 2 days after the U.S.'s shocking ouster of dictator Nicolas Maduro and Trump's announcement that the White House will be taking over control of the Latin American country until a proper transition is actually possible. Well, that's because Venezuela has been one of Iran's closest allies. Over the years, Iran has poured billions of dollars into Venezuela, especially in oil and logistics, and of course, security projects, many of which are tied to IRGC-linked entities. And now, with Maduro gone, Iran's investments and billions in deferred financial claims are suddenly in limbo. Here's what
So you see, that's why I said there's a financial thing tied to this here as well.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has to say about the situation.
On Iran, that pulls the strings of terror in the Middle East and beyond, President Trump and I voice a determined position. We will not allow Iran to...
Propaganda, projection alert, projection alert. He said that Iran pulls the strings of terror in the so-called Middle East or Western Asia. But, the definition of projection, right?
Rebuild its ballistic missile industry. And of course, we will not allow it to resume its nuclear program that we significantly hit during Operation Rising Lion. Our shared position on Iran remains zero enrichment capability, removing all the enriched uranium from Iranian territory, and strict and rigorous inspections over its nuclear sites. When we discuss...
But America can't even inspect this place's nuclear site. They're supposed to be allies.
Iran, the popular uprising, not just in Tehran but elsewhere, it has only just begun, and in the meantime has widely spread. We, in Israel, sympathize with the struggle of the Iranian people and with their aspirations for freedom and justice. It is very possible that we stand before a decisive moment in which the Iranian people takes its destiny into their own hands. In any case, even before I visited the United States, and during the visit, I clarified with regard to military drills conducted by Iran just a few days ago, that if we are attacked, the implications for Iran will be very dire.
Now, the Iranian people should take their future into their hands. There's this same playbook. Are you not picking up what's being put down here? And this other gentleman here that is going to speak is going to also give us a couple of context clues on transgresseth by wine, right? Feeding the people information, making them think that they are and who knows what's going on over there. But what we do know is that there is a playbook. There is a very specific playbook, and they've done this over and over and over in each of the countries. And each of these countries just so happen to be on the GIP, the GI project, Greater, the fill in the blank project.
Well, joining us again in studio is our senior Middle East correspondent, Ariel Osran, and Ruth Wasserman Lande, former member of the Knesset. Okay, this is for you, Ariel. I want to start with you. From a Israeli
Who did they say
strategic,
he was?
Osran and Ruth Wasserman Lande, former member of the Knesset. Okay, this is for you, Ariel. I want to start with you. From a Israeli strategic perspective, does the U.S. operation in Venezuela signal a real shift towards supporting regime change abroad? And if so, does Jerusalem see Iran ultimately as the next arena where Washington might be willing to go that far?
Well, that would depend on what Trump is willing to do. Ultimately, for Israel, regime change in Iran is a stated goal. It wasn't one of the publicly stated goals of the 12-day war.
It wasn't a publicly stated goal at the time. Right, but now you see all this stuff. There's so much information that's out. It all comes together.
Operation Rising Lion, as Netanyahu described, but speaking to the author of Israel's new defense doctrine, former National Security Advisor Yaakov Nagel, said on our channel that regime change in Iran is one of Israel's goals. Now, how does Israel go about doing that? It would be through tacit support, or not so tacit, but clandestine support of this protest movement that is.
Yeah, tacit support. Agent provocateurs trying to cause disruptions from within. And if that doesn't work, well, then you know what else comes next. All right. And this is another prime example of the least of the flock drawing them out. What does tacit support mean, right? It means approval, agreement, or encouragement that is unspoken. Very slick, right? Understood or implied rather than explicitly stated or voiced. It's silent consent or backing where someone shows they agree with or allow something through actions, inaction, or by simply not objecting, even if they haven't said yes, right? There lies your plausible deniability when you deal with tacit, right, quote unquote, tacit support. And then you move on next. You just coming down with the hammer, with where he mentioned clandestine. All right, a clandestine operation is a operation that is what you see the popular stuff that you see on TV with the Delta and the Special Force, all that other stuff. Those are clandestine operations. Damn, what did I say I was gonna get? Dang it. Least of the flock, right? Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he has purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their inhabitants desolate with them. And remember, I always mention about E in Babylon and desolation, or E in Egypt and desolate. They're always tied to desolation. Don't make no mistake, whether they are in Babylon or whether they in the Holy Land or England or Dutch or Portugal or Deutschland or Portugal, whatever. These are all E. Same nation, different tribe. So you share, especially Babylon and, who's in the land right now. Their judgment is tied. The only difference is that the land will be rebuilt, and this will be a monument to what happens when you completely fall into utter wickedness. All right, you can read through that also. Let's let him finish saying what he was saying.
Taking place and expanding in Iran. As for taking actual steps on the ground, we touched on this earlier. It could have a counter effect as to Israel's goals. Now, This is how Israel sees it. As for the United States, what Trump did with Maduro really changes the rules-based order that the world has become accustomed to, or the Western world has become accustomed to since World War II. The thing is, when the West's adversaries don't play according to the rules, some might say, why should the West adhere to those rules? So there's a lot of uncertainty moving forward, whether this would mean that if Trump does it in Caracas, he can do it in Tehran as well. I'm not so sure that the situation in both arenas are the same and would lead to the same intended result, which we haven't even seen in Venezuela yet.
Right.
So there's a lot of uncertainty, but indeed, with Trump's step in Venezuela, casts a lot of uncertainty for the West's adversaries, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, uncertainty for the West's adversaries, but uncertainty for everyone, foreign and domestic, right? Nobody knows now what's going to happen next. 2026 is going off with a bang. The only people that do know are those who understand these prophetic events that are supposed to happen. How they unfold, we don't know. But what we do know is the end goal, the end result. And it is not pretty for a lot of people. So, continue to be prayed up, continue to be contrite and humble and seeking Yahweh, right, while he may be found. Because clearly, very clearly and evidently, the doors of mercy are closing, right, very, very soon. So, pray as much as you can. I mean, you should be praying every day. Try to pray more. Continue to give thanks, right? Give thanks for things that you normally wouldn't think about. For lights, when you flick the lights on, for electricity, for running water, to be able to sleep without worry. Because a lot of these things are going to change for a lot of us. All right, so with that being said, shalom.